going to the pizza jet together here, and we don't want to be late, but we're getting close. Alright, we made it. Now we just have to get in. Welcome back to another episode of Happy Hour Japan. Today we have some really special guests with us, some friends we met, Elliott and Tom, at a local jet event, and it turns out that they're getting ready to go on the jet program. So
that's right, and we know a lot of you viewers out there are interested in the jet program, so we thought it'd be awesome to have them come and answer some of our questions about, their feelings towards going on the jet program.
How they got accepted in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to get to know them, and kind of to celebrate or commemorate it rather, we decided to get an assortment of Japanese beers because that's going to be important when they go to Japan.
Yep.
So we have my favorite, Kirin Ichiban Shiburi. We have Aaron's favorite, Asahi Super Dry, and we also have Sapporo, which is another one of those are the three big beers.
Staple beers. Yes.
Absolutely.
Awesome beer. A lot of different types of beer. Oh wait. Because I remember we talked about this one.
I watched the episode.
Yeah.
I know this one.
That was a crazy thing. So we were at this jet event,
yeah.
and Aaron and I were invited by one of the jet coordinator, the jet coordinator for Seattle. Mm-hmm. And she introduced us, and we're just chilling, and Elliott comes up and like, dude, you're Aaron and Kevin. And we were like, no way.
This is surreal.
This is surreal. Yeah. All right, but anyway, without further ado, kanpai.
Kanpai.
No, that was a really strange experience because as soon as I got accepted in the JET program, I was I didn't know anything about Japanese culture because I studied history and poli-sci in college, and so I just typed in jet cultures or Japanese culture or something like that, and these guys came up on Google, I think it was, or something. And then I'm sitting there in the conference. It was a 2-day conference, 14 hours about, and just at the last minute there was pizzas over here on the other side, and I turn around and I see these guys. It's like seeing like cartoon characters. Did a double take.
Yeah. So how did you guys hear about the JET program in the first place? What interested you about it?
Well, it's kind of a long story, but I had a friend that was doing helping out in the Asia University program at my school at Western, and he kind of just got me interested in teaching English as a second language, and so I talked to one of the directors, and she mentioned it. But then the thing that really catalyzed it was there was an opportunities fair at Western, and I talked to a guy named Ben, and he was a recruiter for the JET program. And it was kind of at the end of the day, and I just kind of slipped in there, and I talked to him for like 30 minutes, and just had a great time. He told me that he learned Japanese, and that he just had a house to himself, and
cool.
just had like the greatest experience of his life. And so that got me on board, and it just happened that like the application was due like 3 weeks from then.
Filled it out real fast. And all that. How about you, Tom? How did you get into it or interested?
Well, actually, it just kind of took me by surprise, kind of like Elliott. I was a philosophy major at school, so I hadn't studied that much Japanese, and I was taking a class, I think for distribution, Japanese haiku on nature. And so I was really enjoying it, and it was quite a lot of fun. And my professor was like, hey, for all of you, JET program, we're going to have an informational session tonight. And I'm like, JET program? What's that? I've never heard of that. And so I went, and I was kind of listening, and I was like, oh, this sounds pretty cool. And so I did some research, and talked to a couple JET alums, and it was like, wow, this sounds like an amazing program. And so the application was about 3 weeks away, and I was like, oh, thank goodness. So I filled that out, kind of being like, well, maybe I'll get in, probably not. I don't speak any Japanese. I haven't really taken a lot of classes on Japan, and and happened to get in. So
wow,
yeah, congratulations, though, because
thank you.
It's not it's not like a surefire thing that you're going to get in, and to get in is actually
Well,
pretty.
I was actually helping Rob, the guy that was on one of our previous shows, our first interviewee ever. I was helping him move about a weekend or 2 weekends ago, and he had another friend helping, and his friend had applied but was rejected. So it's not a sure thing to get in the JET program. So to get in is actually pretty good.
Yeah. So congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So for those of our viewers that still don't know what the JET program is, can you guys explain it real fast?
Sure. It is the Japan Exchange and Teaching Program. It's there's a few ways to participate. I mean, the main role as a JET participant is as an ALT, which is an assistant language teacher, where you go over there and help teach English.
In like a public
high school, middle school, elementary school, some private as well, but mostly public.
It's a government-sponsored program,
right? By the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Clare, which is the local international relations chapter of the Foreign Affairs office. You can also go over as a CIR, which is for people who are more advanced in their Japanese. They can help out with government translations and things like that. And there's also like a sports assistant or something like that, where you can help kids play sports or something. I don't know.
Gym teacher. Yeah.
That was a little is more minor.
I've never met somebody that's been on that aspect of the program.
I actually hadn't heard about it until like months into me being in the program. And I was like, what is this? Is this something I have to do? I was like, no, okay, it's a totally
good. I don't need to be a gym teacher.
So I mean, there's a lot of ways to participate. Essentially, it's more than the English aspect or the translating or anything. Really, the role as a JET participant is as an ambassador for your country.
Right.
So I can't remember the statistics. I used to know them, but there's countries participating from all across the world. Thousands of new participants every year.
Yeah.
And really, you just represent your country and expose Japanese students to what life is like outside of Japan. So that's really what your role is, and the English assistance on top of that is kind of just an added bonus. But it's a great program. I recommend anyone who's interested to apply. You can get information at your local consulate or jetprogram.org, I think is the website.
So what are you nervous about? I mean, what are you nervous about in terms of going to Japan? Have you guys studied Japanese before, or?
I mean, no, I haven't studied Japanese. Japan is like a blind spot when it comes to history. I'm a history major, but I studied modern European history. But I don't know. I'm really afraid of obviously like the kids just not liking me or
that's definitely gonna happen.
Not fitting in.
I'm just kidding. They're gonna love you.
Another thing is I really want to learn Japanese, and so I've studied other languages in the past and never really kind of come fluent or anywhere near fluent in another language, and so I'm kind of afraid that I'm not going to be able to do it.
Living in the country is a totally different thing. I mean, I've never lived there, but for the time that I have spent there, a month or 2 here or there, you pick up so much, even if you've never formally studied it formally before. So.
Yeah, and one thing to note is that when you're there, you should let your teachers and the people around you know that you want to learn Japanese, because otherwise they're going to make an effort to speak to you in English, because they want to practice their English too.
Right.
So you become their English teacher, and if you want to learn Japanese, you need to make sure that you make that, you vocalize your desire to learn Japanese, and then they'll talk to you in Japanese, and that helps a lot. So.
What about you? What are you nervous about? And do you have any apprehensions, or what's your history with the whole thing?
Yeah, well, I, like Elliott, don't really speak the language, and I think, kind of echoing in his sentiments, I guess I'm really most nervous about making friends without being really able to speak the language. Like, I know there's I can learn the basic phrases, but it's really kind of a jump to be able to get to the next part where you can actually hey, how was your day? Oh, it was good, work was hard, blah, 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 and that sort of language skills it'll take some time.
I think it'll happen a lot faster than you expect. I mean,
Right.
Immersion.
Japanese is they make it out to be so scary.
Well, that's the stereotype of Japanese language. But the reason that people think it's so scary is largely because of the alphabet. Really, when it comes down to complexity of spoken language, I think it's actually, I don't know. In some senses, casual spoken language is simpler than English. I think. When you start getting into multiple levels of formality, that's where it gets tricky. But I think the big scary monster of Japanese is the written language.
Right. And the hardest step is the first step, right? And what's great about Japanese is, especially in the work atmosphere, is there's so many set expressions.
Yeah.
So, you go in the morning and you're expected to say good morning to everybody. That's just what you say. Ohayo gozaimasu to everybody. And when you leave, if you're leaving before everybody else, you say otsukaresama deshita, which is, good work today, or, thanks for all your, I don't know how to, we explained it in one of our episodes, but it's a really difficult concept for Americans in English to explain, but because they're set expressions, it's going to be right. So you don't have to worry about, oh man, is this the right time to use this? Because you're doing it every day. You're saying ohayo gozaimasu every single day when you walk into the teacher's room. And so you get to this routine, and because you feel comfortable saying one phrase, it opens it up to everything.
Yeah, you'll start getting into other stuff.